Eu coloco como o aprendizado, né, algumas frases que foram marcantes para esse desenvolvimento, começando pelo professor Brito Cruz, que estará conosco amanhã. Na época, como ele acompanhou bastante o desenvolvimento da Omnisys, ele mostrou uma certa preocupação quando a Thales, a partir dessa estratégia dela, de criar uma rede internacional, uma rede global, de parceiros locais, até com risco de canibalizar o próprio mercado dela, buscar esse tipo de parceiro no mundo, transferindo tecnologia para ser mais forte e competir internacionalmente dessa forma. Na época, o professor Brito Cruz mostrou uma certa preocupação, dizendo, eu acho que a Omnisys, por conta dessa aquisição, na verdade, vai fechar o P&D, vai transferir aquilo que ela desenvolveu nesse período, e a Thales vai se aproveitar simplesmente do mercado, da posição de comercialização de produtos. Enquanto que o discurso do diretor-geral da Thales Internacional, que hoje é o presidente do conselho da Omnisys, e o presidente da Omnisys, tinha uma posição completamente otimista em relação a essa parceria. Era declarado que o objetivo era a criação de um centro de desenvolvimento de novas tecnologias, e o presidente da Omnisys acreditava que essa sinergia iria permitir que a Omnisys se internacionalizasse e crescesse e pudesse, dessa forma, ter uma sustentabilidade maior dentro do mercado. O resultado foi que em 2008, então eu falo aqui quando começou essa parceria, em 2008, dentro do anuário de inovação do Grupo Thales, a Omnisys é de fato apresentada como um centro de excelência para desenvolvimento de radares de rota. Recentemente, meu trabalho tem sido replicar esse caminho que nós tivemos dentro desse tipo de produto, que são os radares, para as outras áreas de aplicação da empresa. E, uma reunião que eu fiz recentemente com o diretor-geral corporativo de engenharia do grupo, ele fala justamente isso, colocando como uma missão para mim, no caso, para a Omnisys, que ela deve, pelo fato de ser muito pequena, adotar práticas de inovação aberta, se ela quiser continuar tendo sucesso nessa iniciativa. Então, nas próximas semanas agora, eu estou recebendo uma delegação de diferentes responsáveis, diretores técnicos das diferentes empresas do grupo, fazendo um roadshow, verificando o potencial que existe no Brasil para desenvolvimento colaborativo e tendo a Omnisys como centro de referência. Ou seja, o que eu procurei mostrar aqui para vocês é como que a Omnisys, uma empresa de tecnologia, conseguiu se posicionar dessa forma no mercado, adotando práticas de colaboração, práticas de relacionamento, busca de financiamento fora do budget interno, buscando alternativas fora, e até mesmo constituindo empresas joint ventures potencialmente concorrentes, mas dentro de outras áreas, para que ela continuasse avançando. Bom, eu fico disponível então para o debate.
Obrigado, Bruno. Professor Chesbrough.
Since you've already had a chance to listen to me for quite some time, I will not provide further examples for you now, but I thought, if with the chairman's permission, I would take a moment to comment on what we've heard from the 5 companies represented up here as well. And so to begin with Petrobras, to me it's extraordinary that an organization of this size, scale, and scope would have the honesty to share with us this internal diagnostic assessment and not only tell us where they're doing well. I find companies all over the world are always happy to tell us what they're doing well. But tell us where they really had, I think the translation was almost a complete failure. And this honesty, I think, is remarkable, and I commend Luis Claudio for doing this, because it shows that even the best and even the biggest can be better. And that by acknowledging the problems, you begin to prepare the organization to not only correct the problems, but to truly become better, and in this case, to become more innovative. And my only real concern for Petrobras in what I heard is that if the oil price continues to rise, will Petrobras lose interest in all this very important work on innovation, because with oil prices high enough, who cares? And I see, particularly in the Middle East, many petroleum-based companies that went through periods when the oil price was very weak of trying to think about new innovation, new diversification initiatives, but many of these were abandoned when the oil price increased again. And so this phenomenon of feast followed by famine with a return to feast can overwhelm internal innovation initiatives if the culture is not managed in a way to maintain the health of these innovations. So I'd be interested in thoughts on that. In the area with Braskem, to me, there were a number of interesting things here, and I think it's an excellent example. I took particular note of the idea of making themselves platforms for new technologies, and not only technologies from within the organization, but platforms that could incorporate technologies from outside the organization as well, and realizing the organizational competence that will be needed to really enact and implement the platform approach. To me, very interesting. In Natura's case, Natura said something I thought was really important, and that is they were looking at their partnerships from the perspective of the benefits to the partner, not only the benefits to Natura. That may seem like an obvious statement, but all too often companies think only about their own objectives, their own needs, and they don't think enough about the interests and rewards for the partners. Yet if you want to create sustainable relationships that you can leverage and take advantage of and grow with, this aspect is very, very important. So I commend Natura for doing that. I had a more critical comment, which is the focus of the technology funnel that precedes the product funnel is to feed the funnel for products. That's fine. But I worry that maybe Natura is not exploring enough opportunities for inside-out open innovation as well. Of course you want to feed and support your own businesses, yes. But in developing technology, there may be false negatives that might be very valuable outside as well. And then lastly, Lucinda, a question. You mentioned about profiling your scientists in your organization. Has the profile changed as you've moved to open innovation? Do you find you need to hire new kinds of people or to train them in new kinds of skills? So a question for you there. And then in Bruno's discussion about Omnisys, I think we see a couple of things that to me are very interesting. Who would have thought that a group like Thales, with 12 billion euros in turnover, $2.2 billion of euros in R&D budget,